It's just like the editing style, just jumping back and forth between different things. The general criticism that people had was sort of like a lack of focus.
The point is, I think it's worthwhile for me to explore with it a bit, and I think there are stories to be told in these. Some of them can be told pretty straight, where the editing is just cutting out the ums and the ahs and the nonsense.
Talking, talking with famous people.
Is that a big
Man,
nug?
yeah, well, this is a little branch. I haven't even gotten into the big branches yet. This is a little branch, okay? It's a little side branch, and I'm manicuring it, which means I'm taking off all the leaves and stuff. I'm gonna make a video and put it up in a while. It'll be probably a week before I'm done with it. It's one of those long-term project things that I don't normally do very well on. But I made a bunch of long videos of me just sitting here manicuring weed, and I'm gonna do a time lapse thing. And I've also got this great thing I found the other day. One of the kids says, like, no, don't say that. He's gonna put it on talking with famous people. And then the Emily goes, another kid goes, "What does it matter? The parents don't watch that anyway." And then Emily's like, "Yeah, they do. My parents are subscribers." And so I'm gonna do that at the intro for my weed video. And it's gonna be a little bit of a message, right? It's gonna be a little bit of moralizing involved in this, saying, "Now look, if anybody wants to judge me on this shit, fucking roll up and judge me. Don't sit there and judge me in silence from afar. Come attack me." You know, nobody wants to do that. Why doesn't anybody want to do that? Attack all the fucking all you want. Nobody wants to do that. They want to just sort of like, well, I don't know. I don't think it's appropriate. Well, somebody should say something. Well, I don't know, Barbara. It's just he's working with children. It's just not okay. As she's drinking her Chardonnay, you know, it's ridiculous.
Seems like a jab at people who enjoy Chardonnay. Seems a little bit unfair, Eric.
Well, it's not a jab at them unless they have opinions about this. Anytime I see people with drug problems of any sort, it's always alcohol. Anytime I see somebody who's obviously engaged in a drug problem right now, like that person's stumbling drunk, it's always that. They're stumbling drunk. You never see somebody who's like, wow, that guy's fucking coked out of his head. He's like, you know,
Yeah, you do.
yeah, I don't. Not very often, anyway.
Yeah, not very often, because at that point they're too scared to leave the damn house.
Right, but I mean, even if Coke were super widely available, I don't think you'd see people behaving like that very often because most people, I think, would not choose to become cocaine addicts. With
Except a smoker.
alcohol though, it's like if you do too much of it, you don't just go like that. You do shit like I saw the other night. I went and played poker. I lost, which sucked, at the bicycle club, and there was this guy outside, and he was just goddamn determined to get himself arrested. I as and no matter how like anti-cops or whatever else I am, I was sitting there going like, all right, cops, I can't blame you one bit. This guy basically was desperate to get his ass arrested. Not because he was so fucking drunk, he wouldn't listen to his woman who was trying to push him in the car. Cops were going to let him get in that car and drive away. In the back of that car and be driven home. And they were telling him, get in the car. Your woman's trying to keep you safe. Just get in the car. And he's just like, "Ugh." No other drug makes you do that shit. No, he got arrested. Yeah, he got arrested eventually, and he did something that all the cops saw it, and that was it. Because also, it was all the cops were standing there trying to say like, "Come on, dude, go in there," and just standing, keeping their distance from the guy, and letting the woman try to get him into the car. And then all of a sudden, I think he swung at her, or he hit her, or something like that, and all the cops moved. Boom. But if we had been standing there watching them show such restraint and discretion with this guy for such a long time, none of us standing out there watching it, it was like 3 in the morning or something, could say anything but, dude, you got nobody but yourself to blame here because those cops were doing everything in their power to let you go. Only alcohol. Only drug in the world that would do that to you.
There's functioning alcoholics. Everyone knows that phrase, but no one knows a functioning crackhead. I think that would not be the case if everything was just legal.
Right, I agree. I think that we would know functioning crackheads.
And you didn't, yeah, it didn't have the inflated prices, the legal repercussions. If you just put everything into like an adult fun store, or what the fuck ever you call it, Just call it what it is. Put in your Vicodin and shit. Don't have a doctor justify it for you.
Also
Right.
depends
What?
the way that you label it too, because you said nobody knows a functioning crackhead, but at the same time, probably back during the '80s, there were probably a few people that someone may have known who used cocaine from time to time.
Oh, most certainly. I mean, I still know some of those.
Lived
But
on.
but here's the thing, though, right? It's like society expects me to be a grown up, and if I'm an alcoholic and I can't handle alcohol, then it's my job to stop drinking alcohol, right? I mean, society doesn't say to me. So I would say the same thing about all those other drugs. Why would we say, look, the most dangerous drug of all, the one that causes people to crash their cars, to get into fights, to intentionally get arrested or unintentionally, intentionally get arrested because you're blacked out, fucking stumbling drunk, the worst possible drug for society reasons, I mean, if you're just talking about like societal impacts, the worst imaginable drug with societal impacts is the one that we put the burden on you, rightfully, to handle your own shit. But the ones that pose less of a legitimate risk to society are too risky for to be sold at all. It's insane. And I mean, like, is heroin less risky for society than alcohol? Yeah. Is crack? Yeah, of course. Totally. For the reasons I just said. They don't make you do that shit. I'm not saying you should therefore go do heroin instead of drinking a beer. I'm not saying you should go smoke crack instead of having a glass of Chardonnay. I'm saying that society needs to think of it in these terms. Well, shit, we've already permitted the worst possible thing imaginable, so why don't we let everything else in too?
Or we
Yeah,
can
it's
think
like,
about it this way. Shit, the war on drugs not working. Shit, the war on drugs is expensive. Shit, you're going to ruin people's lives so that they don't ruin their lives. Um,
right.
there's a million
Yeah,
ways to think of it. Shit, you just
yeah.
created a black market for a plant that literally grows all over the globe.
Additionally, you say you're causing all the harms here, right? For whom do you seek justice? You're causing all the harms. So how are you achieving justice for anybody?
Are you talking about being more pro, let
I'm not
everything be
I'm
legalized,
not
or
I'm not pro drug at all. I don't actually think drugs are a good thing to do. I think that in general, to the extent that you can be fine without doing drugs, be fine without doing any drugs because it's a waste of time and money more or less. It's just entertainment. It's not. There's no growth really to be had after a certain point. Maybe at the beginning, if you're a super square, maybe you could grow some or something. I don't know. But I don't really believe in any of that mystical shit people attach to drugs. So I'm opposed to drug use in general as something that can easily get out of hand and that, like I said, it's expensive entertainment. However, I'm absolutely pro legalization because while those are my thoughts on drug use. Those are my thoughts on drug use for me, the only person I can have any opinion about drug use for. Right? I don't get to have your opinion about how drug use affects you. I don't get to say, well, drug use is too expensive for you. Well, I don't know how much it costs you to spend on drugs. Maybe you only need a teeny little bit. I don't know.
yeah, I guess for me it's less about me because I guess I'd put myself more as um, I guess I wouldn't say pro drugs or whatnot. I mean, caffeine's a drug if we're really being stringent with some of the higher power ones, like with MDMA, which is referred to as ecstasy. Stuff like that, I think, has medical uses. I guess for me, it's more like I want the taboo to be lifted so that there can be proper research.
Just want to
I think
roll. Most of the time, it's just a pressed meth pill, though. So
I haven't done anything. I'm not even sure what I'd be interested in doing.
Okay, well,
But
Ken, we're
I
gonna
know from
start.
what
We're gonna start you out with smoking some meth. Okay, that's first stop, and then
it's a
after
horrible starting place.
it's a perfect place to start. Okay, you start with the gentle drugs. We start with the gentle ones like meth, and you can work your way up to alcohol. Now, when you're smoking the meth, then after you're really fully tweaked out, you're probably gonna want to come down a little bit. So maybe I don't know, a couple Xanax or something.
if you just mix enough different drugs together, you'll get back to normal, and that's the perfect place to be.
Right. Yeah. You see,
So you're saying I need to mix a whole lot of drugs so I can be at the levels that I'm at when I'm not doing drugs.
yeah.
Right.
Well, look, Ken. It goes like this: too much Addy. Smoke a bowl. It's like that.
Uh,
That basically sums up my life.
Talking with famous people.
I actually liked the introduction